mobile phone or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206-400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
We are the DPF. We protect your money. People's Protection Fund of Uganda.
Nkwanga Ramazan is my name, the head teacher of this great school, Ikumbia Seed Secondary School. The school has the staff room well furnished, administration well furnished, the computer lab well furnished, the library wonderful, the multipurpose hall well furnished. The teachers are also enjoying in the staff quarters. The school has teachers totaling to 28. Ikumbia Seed has embraced the new curriculum. I want to thank the government for that bright idea. There are many students that end up in senior 4 with no document. But with the coming of the IT, the skilled children are going to have certificates in skills as early as senior 3. And that certificate is equivalent to a senior 4 certificate. Ikumbia Seed Secondary School is a very great school that has influenced the lives of people or changed the lives of people of Ikumbia sub-county. I want to thank the parents and the government for this kind of input.
I'm called Ezekiel Wanjikate. We are staying in Bisala village that is in Luka district. This is a commercial agriculture farm purely run on a family basis. We are now concentrating on coffee, and we got that coffee in 2018 from Operation Wealth Creation. NADS gave us the solar water pump, which we are currently using to put up irrigation on the farm and be able to irrigate the coffee, which is sitting on a 30-acre area. What we're able to reap out of the coffee, we're able to sell it off and make an expansion, because with irrigation you can't go wrong, but be able to pick all around the whole year. And that's all income that will be coming in. On a special thanks goes to Operation Wealth Creation, to the district local government in Luka district that has also given us the support to supervise all the work that we have been doing. And finally, NADS that gave us the solar water pump.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, good morning, and I'm glad to have your company here on Good Morning Uganda Extra. We have 9 minutes of 9 a.m. and we're going to have a discussion this morning that is geared towards the 39th NRM OA celebrations that will be coming on the 26th of January 2026. Now, this year's 39th NRMA Victory Day celebrations will take place in Mubende District at the Mubende National Teachers College grounds. Now, the theme for this year is 39 years of NRMA, salutations for those who re-sanctified our homeland. And of course, we are going to be looking back and then also assessing how far has the NRM government come since the NRA or the NRA Victory Day, or the time it took power in 1986. January the 26th. How was it back in the time? And of course, we need to understand and give a simple breakdown of the same. Of course, the celebrations will be coming in on Sunday, this coming Sunday, and you'll be getting everything live on your national broadcaster, because the guest of honor will be His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni and his foreign invited guests that will be on their way in Mubende and soon arriving in the country. Now, that mentioned, it is a conversation that I'm going to be having this morning with the Deputy Resident City Commissioner of Rubaga in Kampala, who does join us this very morning. We need to have a conversation on the same to see how far has the NRMA government come from, the achievements, and of course the shortfalls, and then also trying to throw back memory lane on how the entire country was operating before the NRM took over. Now, the Deputy RCC is Chitambula Henry, who does join us this very morning. A very good morning, RCC. Thank you for joining us. Deputy RCC.
Good morning, and to the viewers, I want to really thank God that we are still alive. And I want to thank you for hosting me on behalf of government. I congratulate all the Ugandans, especially those who participated in the struggle to liberate this nation. So whenever we come to 26th January, we really salute them, we remember them, and then strategize on how the country moves. We chose Mubende deliberately. As you are aware, Mubende, the greater Mubende, hosts and used to host the famous Kabamba barracks. If you remember the success of this liberation struggle, whenever you talk about the success, you cannot really leave out the fact that the two attacks on Kabamba barracks ushered in or brought more firearms, more weapons to the guerrilla people, and eventually the firearms they captured on the first attack, much as it was not as they expected, and the ones captured during the second attack gave momentum to the liberation struggle. So Mubende was chosen deliberately because of the historical background. So we are heading to Mubende. The other thing you should know is that because people have been asking us, why do we really celebrate this day? It's a question that many Ugandans, especially those ones with a negative attitude, it's a question they have been advancing. First of all what you see today, the achievements you see, the freedom we have, and everything you see today in terms of achievements emanate from the liberation struggle. So if we don't really celebrate that achievement of all of us, then we may not be really good people, because good people celebrate achievements. There are people who lost their lives during the liberation struggle. I remember I was reading about Katabarwa, the late Katabarwa, when he was hoodwinked by the government then to come for negotiations in Kampala. And as he came for the negotiations, he was killed. He was killed. And that's why we always remember him so much, because he thought the government then was serious on negotiations to end the war. Yet not knowing that the government was hoodwinking the rebel leaders to come, and then they are captured and killed. So such people really deserve being celebrated, being saluted, being remembered. However, what you must know is that the liberation, I don't know whether you take time to read the history of Uganda in terms of politics, economics, and everything. By the time NRM government came to power, by the time the war ended in 1986, we found, or the government now found, when the economy of Uganda was nose diving, the inflation rate, the economic development, I mean, the economic growth, the infrastructure had been dilapidated, the education was down. Health-wise, we had very disturbing diseases, including what we used to read about, the 6 killer diseases. When you look at, for example, governance, democracy, which we always talk about, you could not talk about democracy at that time. You couldn't talk about good governance at that time. So everything was really in a total mess. And that's why when the NRM government came in, they made serious strategies on how to revamp the economy, how to revamp the economic situation and the governance of this country. And that's why, if you remember, the 10-point programs. The 10-point programs were strategic points or programs that were intended to revamp the entire systems, governance, economics, and so on and so forth. And they worked because the concept of a mixed economy was in that 10-point program. And the intention was to grow the private sector, but you couldn't grow the private sector to contribute towards national development or to the economy without establishing the enablers, the necessary infrastructure. And that's why you saw government struggling in earlier days to increase on power generation and power supply, to develop the roads, construct the roads, the roads, then improve the marine transport through procurement of ferries and so on and so forth. Then of recent, the Uganda Airlines, the restoration of the Uganda Airlines. Now, those those infrastructure facilities were needed in order for us to support the private sector. So when you look at the journey, in terms of electricity supply, which was the first dream, because it's one of the enablers. Right now, with the Karuma, you know, Karuma was commissioned last year by His Excellency the President, and we added 600 megawatts to the national grid. So right now we are talking about over 2,000 megawatts of power generated from the 60 that the government found in place. So that's why you are seeing many industries and many industrial parks being established, because you have enough power, and we are adding on. Then when you look at the roads were not so good. The around 1,000 kilometers that was in place had been dilapidated. So government had, first of all, to rehabilitate those roads, actually to reconstruct some of those roads, and also open up very many access roads and construct the strategic roads. So right now we are talking about over 6,000 kilometers of roads that have been constructed. Those are achievements that we need to really celebrate. And then when we talk about education, because you cannot have economic development when you have an educated workforce. So government said, now I think we should improve, and we should improve our education system. We should allow the private sector to set up more universities and tertiary institutions. Government should also set up its own public tertiary and universities. So as I speak now, we are talking about very many number of public universities, very many number of tertiary institutions that are public, but we're also talking about very many private universities and private tertiary institutions. So that means you have the workforce that is educated.
To cut you short from that, you mentioned something about the history of Uganda and the time when the NRA took over. If you can just take us back a little bit, how was the situation like? How was the mood like? Because I wasn't alive then, I should say. But
I was alive, but very young.
Very young.
Yes.
Now, I just want to understand, how was the environment, the atmosphere, when the roads were lit up as the NRA were making their way into the capital to take over fully? How was it like?
You are talking about the general mood of the public?
Exactly.
A lot of jubilation. People were tired.
What drove that?
People were tired of the previous regimes. Because the previous regimes had suffocated development.
Okay.
They had suffocated human rights. They had suffocated democracy. There was no democracy. You couldn't imagine. From 1962 to 1986, I think we only had one election, that is of 1980, which was even married with the irregularities. You remember the Electoral Commission was suspended by then Mwanga, Paul Mwanga, because I think they were announcing genuine results. So they said, no, you can't do that. So we are suspending the Electoral Commission, and we are resuming the powers of the Commission to announce results and to declare winners. And some winners were declared before the results were even go to the center. So because of those, and of course the general backwards in economic development, people had to welcome the new government. And the president, when he was making his maiden speech or the inauguration speech, he said this change was not just a mere change of guards, but was a fundamental change. For you, when you were young, you did not know that in the earlier days, people could sing two in one statements. The first one was this is a fundamental change. The second one was we are enjoying the sleep. We're enjoying the sleep, because they were tired of running up and down and sleeping out of their houses because of the war and the ill treatment that was there then. So the mood was so good, so welcoming, and the new government was welcomed in really full swing. Moving forward, whatever we have been doing, I want the young people especially to know, because they think all the time we are in politics. Whatever we have been doing is planned. We are not gambling on whatever development we carry out. I told you about the 10-point program. That was not a gamble. It was thought of. Now, as we moved on, we developed an ideology. And that ideology entails, one, democracy. Actually begin with patriotism. Love your country, love your people, I mean the people in the country. Then we also came up with the democracy. That's why you are seeing democracy is embedded within our ideology. There is a social economic transformation. In fact, that is now the cardinal, because the other ones are in place, but we are now struggling with the social economic development. Then non-sectarianism. We as NRM government, and the wish of those who went to the bush, they wanted to see a country where people are not looked at in terms of race, in terms of religion, in terms of tribe, in terms of gender, and so on and so forth. So we want a one Uganda, and that was their dream. And we have moved to that dream. I want to tell you and the viewers, we have moved to that dream, and we are still continuing to ensure that we consolidate that dream of non-sectarianism. Now, through social economic transformation, I don't know whether you are aware that we found when very many people are poor. They are poor because there was no environment for them to work and earn money. So the president has always been struggling to ensure that Ugandans get better in terms of economy, in terms of money. And in 2007, the cabinet, another government, came up with a comprehensive national development planning framework. And this framework provides for a 30-year development plan. And that's why, if you have ever heard about the Vision 2040, Vision 2040 was a dream from government in 2007, and we started implementing it in financial year 2010-2011. And the Vision 2040 we are talking about, we want to see a transformed Ugandan society from a peasant to a modern and prosperous country. And that the target is 30 years. So you have ever heard about the national development plans. So this Vision 2040 is supposed to be implemented using 6 national development plans. So we are not gambling. And the first development plan, that is NDP1, started in financial year 2010-2011. That was up to 2014-2015. That was the first one, because it's a 5-year plan. Now, as I speak now, we are talking about the 6th. We are talking about the 4th. So we are entering the 4th national development plan. It's beginning in July this year.
Because NDP3 is also coming to a closure.
It's coming to a closure. And this is now the 4th out of the 6th.
Okay.
Now, why I said we are not gambling, when you look at what was in the other national development plans,
from 1 to...
Yes, we have achieved almost 70%, and we are continuing, because it's a development plan that will take us to the up to 2040. Now, 2040, we want to see a transformed Uganda, a transformed Ugandan society, transformed Ugandans. We don't want to talk about peasantry in the year 2040. Now, National Development Plan 4, NDP 4, the major aim is increasing household incomes, increasing employment for sustainable social economic development or transformation. And that is our dream. And we want to see a growth in the economy. We are targeting a 10-fold economic development, 10-fold economic growth. And our cutoff was financial year 2023-2024, because that year our growth was US dollars 50 billions. Now we want to see $500 billion in the next 15 years. So that means by the time we reach 2040, our economy should have grown 10 times. That is from 50 billions US dollars to 500. And I'm telling you, we are going to achieve that, because we are determined to do so.
Let's look at programs empowering Ugandans over the years. Currently, one of those that are being talked about enough is the PDM.
And
we've had the Nyoga. You know, but we've got many of those that have been coming over the years. Programs that have been aimed at promoting Ugandans. However, before even falling to the shortfalls of where the government is still having a journey in regards to its success, is on when you look at the beneficiaries of some of these programs over the years. Some of the programs have not majorly, hit the destined, category of people it was designed for. But if you can take us back into some of the successful programs, as we also look into some of the loopholes and how the government intends to work on that.
I want to state without fear that all the programs have had an impact.
Okay.
Challenge is notwithstanding. When you look at Operation Wealth Creation, for instance, you may not understand that when Operation Wealth Creation was established and they started distributing seedlings, including coffee seedlings, coffee production went up. Coffee production went up. So it achieved. They gave out seeds for people to plant. Food production went up. During Operation Wealth Creation, we never had shortages of food supplies. Why? Because they did the work. So it was successful. When you look at Emyoga, much as we have challenges of leaders and a few members taking loans and not paying back, but we have some success stories as far as Emyoga program is concerned. When you look at youth livelihood program, much as the youth, the mindset, because that is one area that we need to really fight, all of us, to change the mindset of many young people, because at times they don't want to work in groups, and at times when you give them money, they don't want to use the money the way they should really use it, and we are struggling to change that. But by and large, there are very many youth groups that benefited from youth livelihood program. There are very many women groups that benefited from WEP, that program of the women. It's still running. Now, when you look at PDM right now, much as there are some few elements of extortions and what have you, which we are dealing with, and the president has really become very tough on this matter, by and large, the 39% of households or Ugandans that are still below the poverty level, that work for the stomach, as the president normally put it, that percentage through PDM, we are bringing it down. I was looking at the Ubosi results, and I saw it's now from, I think, 39 to around 36. Just 1 year of 2 years of implementing the program. So I think when we all get serious and support government in especially the mindset change, and tell people kindly, when you get the 1 million, put it to the best use. Don't buy a new suit, don't marry a second wife, don't gandhi and buy pork and beef or good chicken. First invest. If people can invest that 1 million, I'm telling you, you are going to see results. You have been the president traversing the country, the regions, assessing the PDM performance, and you have seen the president visiting some success stories. So that means we are succeeding, and this is a program that is going to run for some years, because the money that is taken to the parishes through the parish circles, the PDM circles, this money is a revolving fund. We may not withdraw it, it will remain. So when people pay back, that money will definitely remain at the parish. As you are aware, government intends to have a parish-based development approach. From now, the sub-counties and the districts want to concentrate at the parish, and many things will be done at the parish. This is just one of them. So by and large, from your question, to me, most of these government programs that have been put in place have yielded some success. That's why we had a reduction of those working for the stomach from around 80 in 1986 to now 39 by the time the program of PDM was enrolled. So you cannot say that those programs have not been successful. Of course, the challenges notwithstanding, as I mentioned earlier. So we need to celebrate.
And challenges notwithstanding brings me to asking, by the look of things in the last 39 years, where are those challenges been at? Because as any ruling government, there is always that bit of things, and not to forget corruption. And it has become a day and order of some bit of the government agencies and the ministries. How are we going to tackle this? Because now we have 39 years that we are looking into here. And of course, there have been measures to put an end to it. But of course, at the side of the coin, the cases continue to rise.
Of course, previously there was nothing, and I'm saying this in good faith. There was nothing to steal during that time, because you couldn't steal from 4 billion. You couldn't. That economy, you couldn't steal from that.
The resource envelope.
The resource envelope was too small. But now that the resource envelope has increased, and very many people are entering into the money economy.
But it doesn't give us the right to...
yes, I'm coming to that. So many wrong characters, characters have really come up, and they are disturbing us. Nevertheless, the president and the government, have established systems that are in place to check the corrupt officials to begin with. When you look at the office of the Auditor General, that one was established in this regime. The office of the Accountant General, all of those offices. When you go to Parliament, there is Public Accounts Committee, there is a COSASE. All of those ones are institutions established to check on corruption. The office of the IGG, in fact, for me, who is in the government as a public servant, after 2 years, I must declare my what I have, my assets. I must declare, and the declaration is automatic. When you open up, because they open up at a certain period when the time comes, they open up the system. It's digital. What you declared the other time will remain there. So you only add in. So it's a system. Look at the Anti-Corruption Court. That one was established recently. There is also a law called the Whistleblowers Act, protecting those who can come up and secretly give information to the relevant authorities. So now in the State House, recently they established a unit headed by Kanu Nakalema, that is to check on those who are extorting from the investors. Then there is the one of the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. They are doing some good work. You have heard them recovering a lot of money from those who had taken them. So the system is in place. However, what we need to do, all of us, we should join hands and say, look, corruption affects even you who is eating this money. Because the money that is meant for a health center, if you eat it, tomorrow your relatives may go to that health center and find no medicine. So I think that is the message we should give to everybody. However, as a government, we are committed to ensuring that we fight corruption, and we are doing it. Many of the things government discovering it, not even the people, it's government discovering it. You remember when the president discovered the corruption in the parliament in the budgetary process? It was himself who really laid the trap and caught the corrupt officials, and they're in court. I don't want to comment on many things. However, we should also look at what the president says. You are aware that we have secured this country from border to border right now. You can move. There is no rebel activity. Even ADF that has been disturbing us, we have contained it. We are now battling with these simple crimes of theft of animals and what have you. And the president is saying, look, why do you give bond to people who have stolen, for example, somebody has stolen cattle, you know the thief, the evidence is there, the file is ready. Why don't you take this person to court instead of giving the person bail, a bond of police? And for us who are in the system, we support the president, not because we work with him, but we know once somebody is given a bond, and you have it because you are in the public. Once somebody is given a bond today, and you tell the person to report after 3 weeks, then after a week, after a month, the person who is complaining will lose out. You will see as if he or she has not been assisted. So people always give up very fast. You know how Ugandans behave because of the freedom. So somebody says, let me leave that because police has not assisted me. But when you arrest the person, you have the exhibit. Prepare the file very fast. Submit the file to the state RSA to sanction it. So say that within 48 hours, the person is in court And the president is really, when you read, if you understood him very well, that is his really intention of not really frustrating the people who are using PDM money. Somebody has used PDM money to stock, for example, some goods, or to buy a cow, to buy chicken, and so on and so forth, for economic transformation. And then they are stolen, and the person who has stolen is really lingering in the village because the person has been given a bond. And we shall support the president when it comes to this. So the challenges are there. Corruption is one of them. Then number two, the politicking. We opened up space, and I think we over-opened up. Because in Rwanda, for example, I'm sorry for my friends in Rwanda. In Rwanda, they have democracy, which democracy is somehow regulated. Democracy for, I think, national development. Here we have democracy for everybody. To participate. You know how people elect the leaders the other time, using a wave. They were asking us, how did we elect this one? And we are also asking them, you didn't know that you are electing him? Said, no. For us, we were told to elect the symbol. So they are now regulating on the kind of leaders they elected. So that politicking in everything is too much. Are you aware that there are some political parties here in Uganda that do not come for the other? They have that umbrella called iPod. They don't come for iPod meetings. Reason, do you know why? They say the president is there, therefore shall not come. So for them, the problem is the president. But when it comes to sharing the money, because some of them have reasonable number of parliament.
They're entitled to that money.
No, you have to be entitled to what you have worked for, because that is also corruption. I've not come to iPod. I've not been a part of the dialogue and the conversation that that brought this money we are getting as parties with MPs in parliament. But I'm getting the money. That is corruption. In fact, if I was at the policy making level, I would really propose that no, if you don't come for iPod, you don't get this money, because iPod is the driver as far as this money is concerned. So that politicking, where a politician from the opposition thinks he or she cannot meet with a government official, I think that is something that is really itching me as a person. But I think there are very many Ugandans that are not happy with it. Leaders should learn to work with fellow leaders, irrespective of their political
I've been looking at
differences.
something here from the Explore Uganda account, and there's an exhibition happening today. That is a Uganda-China Tourism and Cultural Exhibition. But it has brought me to my other question, you know, tourism. Because when you look at the last 39 years, we broadly need to look at the entire aspect of how Uganda's landscape is today, from the economy, the social aspect. Now, this bit of the tourism brings me into the element of bilateral relations with other countries. For the last 39 years, from the side of the NRM now, then NRA, when you look at that journey of, you know, partnerships with other countries, how far have we come, and how fundamental have these partnerships been for the social and economic development of this country?
We have gone very far in terms of the bilateral relations. When you look at our neighbors, Kenya, the relationship is very, very good. But also globally, our image, Uganda's image, is not the other image, where you could go to some of those countries and ask you, where is Amin? I'm sorry to mention Amin, but they could. Amin was very popular negatively in those countries. Now, Uganda has become a home of not only tourists but many regional and international functions. I will not mention about this one on agriculture that has just ended. But I will take you back to last year. When you look at G77 summit. Look at NAM. All those were very powerful conferences that we hosted last year. We have hosted very strong international figures, including the Pope, actually two times now. So Pope cannot come to country two times when there is nothing, when the security is not good, when he...
Because I wanted to ask
yes.
you who is in the public service, I want to know, if you woke up in the morning and someone just asked you offhand, what are some of the biggest achievements of the NRM government, what would you say?
The first one, security. That one I don't even want to, I cannot even take time to mention it.
Okay.
Are you aware that we are exporters of security?
True. I've seen the incidents that have been happening with our neighbors, South Sudan, DR Congo, Somalia.
Yes, so we are exporters of security. In fact, when we went to Somalia, people thought we were peacemakers. I mean, peacekeepers. Okay. We didn't guys peacekeepers because there was no peace. By the time we went to Somalia, the president of Somalia and the cabinet had headquarters in Nairobi, in Kenya. So there was no peace. So you cannot say Uganda was a peacekeeper in Somalia. We went as peacemakers. In fact, all the countries where we have gone as peacemakers, not peacekeepers, because there was no peace.
So you've gone to create the peace and then maintain it.
So when it comes to security, you don't need to really underrate us. We have done a lot. It's one of the biggest achievements, and it's one of the drivers of all the development that you are seeing. Because you are talking of tourism. Tourists cannot come in an insecure country. They can't. Even if you have very many tourist attractions, they cannot come unless the security of that country is good. Then the second one is the infrastructure development. Electricity. When I was in senior 2, that was the earlier days of NRM. That was in 1997. 1997. Those were earlier days of NRM. We were struggling with the power. In fact, we could even have a timetable when we were reading books.
The times of the Uganda Electricity Board.
So yes, we could say, today power is on. Tomorrow, don't waste time. So we knew the timetable. So we could talk about load shedding very, very oftenly. So you could prepare the books knowing today power is there. Tomorrow. So I think Uganda was rationing power. So right now, power is on for industrial production, for domestic use. Then the roads, very many areas have been opened up. I don't know whether you moved through Kampala these days. There was this stubborn man called the Spire Sentongo. He came up with an exhibition that he was embarrassing NRM government for not fixing the potholes. Now today, I don't know whether he's ready to come back and show Ugandans that, what I showed the other time, everything has been fixed. Because Kampala is changing. There are very many roads being constructed. In Kampala, sit alone. So he should really come back and give Ugandans the right image. When you go to, I mentioned this earlier, when you go to the islands, these days people do not use canoes to access the islands. People are now using ferries that can even carry vehicles, carry huge goods, carry huge passengers, and I'm telling you, those areas have also been opened up for development. So you cannot really take that for granted. Then in the education sector, the UPE, USE. UPE, some of you who at times abuse it and talk ill about the program do not know that the intention was not to support you who can take your child to a very big school. For you, you have the money. But there is the other person who cannot afford paying fees and buying everything for
I'm
the children.
a beneficiary of UAC.
Very good, very good. Thank God for that. And you are here, so you can give testimony that UP is not for Nabakone.
I want us to now turn our focus on.
Yes, but just briefly, UPE was started to assist those ones that could not take children to school, and the cardinal intention was to enable at least a Ugandan child to have the basic education, the basic skills of writing and reading. But later on we thought we would expand it to bring in universal secondary education, such that those children in a UPE after P7 can also advance to a secondary and attain some basic education, because we believe somebody who has gone through senior 4, senior 6, that person can be really of some reasonable use. So I thank God that you are here. You can give testimony. I have very many people who give testimony that they went through UPE. So that means not Bona Bakone. So we have really done. In the media where you are, in the media, because you are in media, we used to have only a government television, UTV then. UTV is now UBC. And one radio, that radio was Radio Uganda, now UBC. Now, right now, we have very many.
Anyways, we do have a lot of
radios here,
players within the
very many
well.
TVs just in this.
And as we're summing up, I want us to look at the 39-year celebrations that we are going to be having in Mubende on Sunday. The celebrations now. What next? After 39 years, the NRM is going to be on the journey to 40 years, 4 decades. What should the Ugandan expect, and those that will be able to attend the celebration?
First of all, I call them to come for the celebration. That's the first thing. I'm inviting all of you on behalf of government to come and be with His Excellency the President and other Ugandans in Mubende to celebrate this day. For the people of Greater Luwero, for you must really take the lion's shine in terms of attendance, because this is really in your area. Number 2, what is expected? What should Ugandans expect? The consolidation of the achievements. The addition. We need to achieve more of all what is on plan. As I said, we are looking at a peasant-free nation. A peasant-free nation. So everybody should really play the role. We are coming into elections, because I need to talk about this. We are coming into elections, and I think by the next celebration, the 40 years, we shall have had an election, because around early January.
Do you expect to win the election?
I think that is a question that is misguided, because we are still around. Ugandans have trust in us. We are the only government and party with a plan for the nation. Others are gamblers and talkers. They are good at talking. But in terms of strategizing, putting plans on the table and implementing them, I'm not seeing them anywhere. Because for me, my take on the opposition, if you're in opposition, you should be in a position to have an alternative policy. If government says in 40 years, I mean in 40, by 2040, this is what we intend to have. What do you have on table? Because you are opposing, what do you have on table? If government is talking about having 80% of Ugandans accessing electricity by year 2040, what do you have? So it's upon that background that Ugandans always think twice and say, yes, we are talking about democracy, but we should really return the vote to these people. So I have no doubt the NRM government will win the coming elections. What we are appealing to Ugandans, and especially the young people, make sure you remain calm, be peaceful. We shouldn't love to destroy what we have built, because building really takes time.
Okay, and the 39 years of NRM 8th Victory Day celebrations will be celebrated at the Mobende National Teachers College grounds. The theme again is 39 years of NRMA, salutations for those who re-sanctified our homeland. And of course, the guest of honor, like I did mention, will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who will be leading all the proceedings there. And of course, we will also expect to have some invited guests by the president himself. Now, my guest this morning, though, has been Chitambula Henry, who is the deputy RCC Rubaga, and he has been joining us here, speaking on behalf of the government ahead of these celebrations. Again, thank you very much for joining us. And to you, our dear viewer, thank you very much for waking up with us from the time we started at 6:30 a.m. Till tomorrow, same time, we will be here to lead the proceedings of your breakfast shows here in the country. It's Good Morning Uganda Extra. I am Joram Paul Sonko. Have yourselves a good day and a good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Form Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices.